Bullhorn Betty rocks.
Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. Come on in.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turbo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take red
Well, good morning, my beauties. It's nice to see you. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're doing well. I hope this helps with your lawsuit. We're pal. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. It is nice to see you. We are back in the studio, as you guys can see, talking about some of the same old stuff. You know, Nancy Guthrie, Sebastian Rogers, still missing, still ignored. No justice, no answers. Everyone is squeaky quiet, right? We got Sebastian Rogers. He's been missing since 2024. And the last press conference the BOS Sheriff Snuggle Struggles did was on April 2nd, 2024. He has literally wanted to make sure that this case dies down. What you need to know is that sheriff is Navy. Chris and Katie Proudfoot are Navy. And because of all the mistakes that appear to be somewhat intentional, according to me, in my opinion, some of these things seem very intentional. And these people can maintain their livelihood, living their best life ever, running and fleeing away from home when their child went missing and everybody was searching for their child. They went out of state. Much like Brian Hooker, right? Brian Hooker, husband of Lynette Hooker from the Bahamas. We were just out in Fort Pierce hunting for the soulmate that's now docked at the U.S. Coast Guard station there. Sounds like him. He fled too. He smells as stinky as the Proudfoots. Smells as stinky as the Proudfoots. So we're going to be diving in, but before we do, I want to say good morning to everybody, and then we got a couple cases that we are going to go over. One from Tennessee, and this particular case from Tennessee, one is not getting a lot of attention. Two, seems like this guy might be met with foul play. Something happened. And another Tennessee case, this one's an adult, so good luck on that, right? They don't care. They don't give a crap about their kids in the state of Tennessee. What do you? They really don't give a shit about the adults. All Tennessee does is have their hand out like this and just want your money. They don't want to do anything for it except put it in their pocket. That's all they want to do in Tennessee. They don't help the children. They don't help the adults. They don't help the missing. But don't worry. Those revenue generating activities like CSAM, they're all over that. They don't care about the missing kids anymore. They don't care if they're murdered. They don't care if their parents have done something. They don't care. That's not revenue generating activities. No. They need to go after these CSAM cases, right? And it is a bad problem. And we want them to do that. Don't misunderstand Bullhorn Betty. We want these people, because without that market, without the people purchased, just like substances, right? You have your dealers and you have your users, right? Without the users, there would be no dealers. So we have to get that, but it's always backwards, right? They're not really stopping the generation of it. They're just the umpteen million viewers of it they're going. It's low-hanging fruit. It's not really stopping the problem. It's never going to stop the problem until they go after the fishes, the big fishes creating it, the sharks. Until they go on a shark excursion, it's just low-hanging fruit, revenue-generating stuff. But either way, without the people, but if you look at it, the substance abusers, what do they get? They usually get therapy, right? Because they're not after the substance abusers, they're after the people that are slinging the dope. But somehow on this stuff, they're not after the people creating it. They're after the people watching it. Seems a little backwards, but that's how they get their money. Every time they put somebody in jail, they get their daily allowance from the state for housing that person. Never mind the money that they get from the state for representing that person in a court of law, for their public defender's office. You guys don't understand the money that's involved in our legal justice system on a court level and a law enforcement level. Every little thing you do, the state reimburses you. That's how we're able to get some money. Just about. There are things that, they have to pay for themselves. The sheriff's department do have their own budgets. But a lot of the money that they're getting in from the state, right? If you've ever been in jail, you might have been a victim of this very thing, where they hold you over when you're already bonded and ready to be released, because they want that extra day allowance for your head. So they actually keep you in jail a few hours longer just to get that credit for the additional day. I find that inhumane. I find that unlawful. I find that fraudulent at the expense of real human beings. And I've seen it done all over this country. It's going to be problematic. But getting back to the gentleman I am speaking about, his name's William. I didn't set it up. Oh no, Betty, what are you doing? Gracious, Betty. How dare you? How dare you? William Harrell. Been missing since 2025. Guess what? Media failed us on this one too. They gave him two articles, almost identical articles. Here's one, and they were done on both the same day. Search continues for missing Union County man. October 10th, 2025. Look at that. October 10th, 2025. You asking for help to find a missing person. So here we go. We got two articles from the same exact day from Channel 8. Nobody else picked up the case because he's an adult. Probably has some history, not the perfect blonde hair, blue eye, pristine cutie pie. So maybe not, maybe not a priority for Tennessee, Just thinking, because I don't understand how anybody in 2025 This is to the extent of the news on a missing human being. And this doesn't count because this is from 2016, has nothing to do with it. Just these two. That's all he got. That's all this poor man got. Still missing. Seems like he may have met with some foul play. So I figured we'd learn a little bit about this before we dive on in. Right? Before we dive on in. Good morning, everybody. Come on in. Sit on down. Take a load off. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. So we have William, last seen June 23rd, 2025, from his home in Sharps Chapel, Tennessee, wearing underwear and no shirt. It is believed he recently trimmed his beard and into a short style. Interesting. Since William's disappearance, his family and the Union County Sheriff have searched hundreds of acres, followed every lead, and shared his story across social media. Okay, well, we've got 2 news articles on this guy from Tennessee, missing for almost a year. 2 articles this poor man got. So much for them sharing. I don't know. You know, social media is a big deal, but I don't know if that means just don't run it. I'm not even sure if it, let's see if it ran, they even had any, like, anything. Oh, they did. They had an 18-second, a minute and 48-second. Okay, well, they do have a few. And then that's it. And then it looks like the sister. That's if this is the right one. So we have about 3 minutes. You're missing for a year, and we got about 3 full minutes of coverage on him on mainstream media. I just think that's bad. So let's just go over a few things here. He might have shortened his beard. They're saying, you guys see the brown hair. You guys see what he looks like with shorter facial hair, what he looks like here. I don't know if he's met with foul play. Why would he leave? Does he have substance abuse issues? Does he have mental issues? You know, what would be the purpose? I don't know how much, you know, that is out there for him. But Harold was last seen at Chapel area on June 23rd, and that was 2025, wearing underwear and no shirt. Underwear and no shirt. That seems like he was in distress. Who would be running around with underwear and no shirt?
There's a search right now for a missing man. TBI, Union County Sheriff's involved here. William Harrell has been missing since June. Last seen around Sharps Chapel. Take a look if you know anything about where he could be right now. Let the Union County Sheriff's Department know their number in the WVLT News app.
Miss Susan Young Brown.
Okay, let's see what this one says. This one's a different article, same day.
There's a search right now for a missing man. TBI, Union County Sheriff's involved here. William Harrell has been missing since June. Last seen around Sharps Chapel.
I gotta be honest with you. I've gotten to the point where every time I hear TBI's involved, I cringe. I have yet to see TBI do a damn thing for a missing person. How long have people, let me just ask, let's do a show of hands of ones and twos. I mean, in all fairness, like, I'm curious, you know, here, how many of you guys kind of feel the same way? It's like, you know, all of the cases that have gone mainstream that we've seen TBI involved in, they've gone nowhere. I haven't seen how TBI has been beneficial in any of these missing person cases ever. Am I alone? If I'm alone, put a 1. If I'm not alone and you feel the same way, put a 2. Right? Do you feel, I mean, if I'm alone, so my question is every time I hear TBI involved in a case, any case, I don't ever see it being resolved. And if you don't agree with me, do a 1. If you agree with me, do a 2. We're two's agreeing with me. 1 is not agreeing with me. 1 is like, you know, they're good. But so far, I haven't seen Summer Wells TBI was involved with, Sebastian Rogers TBI was involved in, this person TBI is involved in. You know, how many cases are TBI involved in when it comes to these most likely foul play scenarios? It seems like they find people that are missing. I mean, we can go to TBI website, and I believe that they've probably TBI, let's do Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. Let's just go there and see what we got. Do we have any missing Tennesseans? Let's look at missing Tennesseans. As of 2024, Tennessee still has 7 Amber Alerts. Why don't they just give us a list? Why do they have to break them down? I mean, if they want, somebody wants to just go look at kids, go look at kids, but why don't they have a master list of just everybody missing? You got to go into every individual one of these missing persons to find. You got active, missing, a child alerts. Let's see who's an active. Let's see who's an active missing child alert here. We have Chavez. There, she's in yellow. Sebastian's in red. Why is Sebastian in red? Look at that. We have yellows and reds. Oh, one's endangered. Endangered child alert. So yellow is endangered child alert. Red is amber. So we've got this child missing, been missing since May 4th. We've got this child missing May 4th, 2024. We got Sebastian missing since May 25th, 2026. Of course, TBI doesn't even have the date he truly went missing. They're using the reported date as the missing date. What an idiot. But hey, we can't fix stupid. Look at this. TBI even has Holland Snap and Layla Santinello, 2 other cases that we've covered. Didn't help in those cases either. Look at that beautiful little baby. 2022. Didn't help in this case either. Oh, look at this case. Been since 2021. I know that case very well. Summer Wells. Didn't help in that case either. It almost makes you wonder, what cases do they help in? Oh, that's right. They help in the easy cases. That's right. I keep forgetting. They're good. They're good. They're good with real missing people. They're terrible when the people have met with foul play and most likely are deceased, especially the ones that are killed by their parents and hid very, very well, which is what we believe happened to Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers. Just a shame. Just a shame. Every case that we have covered, that we're covering in Tennessee, all of them, all 5 cases. All 5 cases, dude, have TBI involved in them. All 5. The high-profile cases and Layla Santinello and Holland Snap, mainstream media didn't even want to pick them up. So I'm surprised that they've got better resources than Sebastian and Summer Wells, right? So no movement. It just seems like everything that has anything to do with them hiding a body really good, Tennessee washes their hands of it. They just want people to stumble across bones because they stop searching for them. They stop putting resources for them. And then they start complaining about anybody that wants to go search for them. It's like, what the hell do you expect to happen? You're not getting off your lazy ass to go out there. I have no respect. I shouldn't say that. I have little respect for a lot of top brass across Tennessee because they're so arrogant and they won't get out of their own damn way. And they think they're doing good and they're not, because we've seen better. We've seen a lot better. I would say Tennessee law enforcement gets a big old fat F across the state. And people might be upset about that, especially if you are in law enforcement and you're in Tennessee and you love the Bullhorn Betty channel and I'm criticizing you. We have a lot of good people across the state of Tennessee. Don't misunderstand me. But law enforcement across the Tennessee gets a big fat F. Okay? They are not good. They're not good for kids. They're not good for their citizens. And you know what? And we're focusing so much on them, and their own media had to start, you know, because there was a big story coming out because they were freaking arresting a bunch of sober drivers. That's revenue generating activity as well. Kind of funny how that works. All this stuff that they're doing is revenue generating activity, but when it comes to the kids, they give them whatever time they give them and they forget about them. They move on. I don't know what else to say or do. I'm so thankful that Nancy Guthrie at least has the community. Like the community in Tennessee, nobody will do anything. I have never seen such craziness in all my life. Like it literally, their law enforcement literally has to destroy their lives before they'll do anything. They don't care about anybody else's. They're just sick in their corner and just hoping to God it never knocks on their door, just as long as it's everybody else. I think that's a disgusting personality trait. I'm one of those people that it upsets me to see something bad going and being done to somebody else. And, you know, I want to vocalize that because I want to stick up for the little guy, you know? I want to stick up for the little guy. But sometimes when you try to stick up for the little guy and the little guy refuses to stick up for themselves, you know, you kind of have to say, you're on your own. Until it comes knocking at the door, what do we do? What do we do? I can't help you. Why? Because your community sucks. They stick their head in the sand like ostriches. I'm sure they're great people, but we need great people with backbones, not just great people. We need great people that know how to use their voice, right? So I love the people of Tennessee. I mean, it doesn't sound like I do. I love them. But I'm trying to get them to understand the errors of their way. And sometimes I don't do it so well. And it pisses people off, and that's okay. Maybe one day it's all about planting a seed, right? It's all about planting a seed. And then when that seed will sprout when it's supposed to sprout. But you guys have been screwed in Tennessee. You're letting your good old boy system run rampant across the state. And it's costing you time. It's costing you money. Because whatever the state or the feds won't pick up, you guys are on the hook for. And they're spending your money like water. So you can be mad at Bullhorn Betty for shaking and rattling the tree. Or you can realize what's really going on and pull your heads out of the sand and start doing something about it. And that's kind of where we are with Tennessee. I mean, I can show you guys all the facts in your state, and people still aren't angry enough. Why? Because it hasn't happened to them yet. And they're just fine watching it happen to other people. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people. If Sebastian Rogers was in my community would be hearing about it every week at the BOCC meeting. My community would be hearing his name at every governmental event, public event we have in this town until he's found. He would never go without memory. I just don't. Mickey Stein knew how to take care of political problems in his state of Kentucky. There was something definitely going on in the backwoods of that Kentucky place, and you know what? That's where corruption leads you. There's no place to go because everybody's so corrupt with the good old boy system that you end up having to take the law into your own hands to let people know what's really going on. Now, is that vigilante justice? Yes, it is. But, you know, if you have no other choice, they're like, well, you got choices! You know, and maybe he did. Maybe he could have went to the FBI. Maybe, but you know, when people start snooping around, then you start having to deal with the consequences. And maybe the consequences for him was too great. We were hearing that it was really mentally bothering him. You know, it was mentally bothering him to carry this burden. And I'm hearing he wasn't sleeping well. He was having some sleep deprivation issues, which probably triggered, you know, the instability of Mickey. But I don't know. That's what I heard back in the very beginning. I haven't been back there. Maybe we should go back there because Kentucky, I need to be in Kentucky. I really want to be in Kentucky. We're months away from the primaries, the midterms. You know, we're and I've got to go to Kentucky. If you're from Kentucky and you are in Tom Massey's district, please do yourself a favor. Fire the SOB, okay? It's infuriating that somebody like Tom Massey can wreak havoc across he's affecting crap in my state, in the state of Florida. He's got to go, okay? He's got to go. So if you're a Democrat, you don't like him anyway. So just kick him to the curb, okay? If you're a Republican out in Kentucky, stop voting for him. Every single one of your decisions at our federal level suck. Mitch McConnell should have been fired years and years and years ago. Tom Massey should have been fired years and years and years ago. Rand Paul should have been fired years and years and years ago. So guys in Kentucky, if you are from Kentucky, wake up, please. Please. Do Betty a solid. Say, hell no. Hell no. Right? Tom Massey is no. No on Massey. No on Massey. That's why Lindsey Graham tripped McConnell. Lindsey Graham's got to go too. He's a slimy son of a you-know-what. He's a fire Tom Massey. Amen, Sandy. Say no. If you guys are from Kentucky, we will not. No. If you guys know somebody in Massey's district, spread the word. We're going with Ed. Ed's the guy, okay? Ed's the guy. We need Ed. We need Ed. If you guys want to help other states out, we need Ed. So if you guys don't even live in Kentucky, but somebody you know lives in Kentucky, spread the word. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this grassroots effort. Spread the word. Tom Massey's out. Ed's in. Okay? Betty, did I miss your show with the guest? You did not. My guest never called me back. It was so sad. That's okay. That's okay. When the guest calls me back, I left a message. We'll get it scheduled. I'm not a pushy broad. I give people an opportunity. That's all I do. I'm not going to be pushy. I run this show every day, whether somebody shows up or not, right? So I give people the opportunity. If they don't want the opportunity, there's nothing I can do about it, right? So we move on. We move on. Now, you guys, I wanted to tell you this because this is so bizarre. I never thought in a lifetime that we would be dealing with this. I really didn't. And this is an actual person in our government voted into office nonetheless that has now admitted they pled guilty to being an effing spy, a Chinese spy. Like, I just want somebody to please explain to me, okay? Just explain to me. How in the hell are we electing Chinese spies into office in this country? How do we not have, in 2026 of all years? I'm trying not to lose my brain cells here. I'm trying not to have my brain just explode in front of you. But come on, in 2026 and 2025, anything past the freaking 2010 era, how in the hell do we not have sophisticated, advanced technology that identify people before they're voted into office in this country? Like, mind blown. How do you do this? I just want somebody to tell me how you do this. This is not good for our country. This is not a partisan conversation here, folks. This is not good for our country. Somebody elected a freaking Chinese spy to hold office, to have credentials to hear some of the most sensitive information. And she's a mayor. And you guys are like, well, she's not that. Believe it or not, mayors have a lot of pull.
The country tonight. This one comes in from our Los Angeles affiliate KTLA. How about this? The mayor of Arcadia, that's in Los Angeles County, just north and east of downtown LA, now facing federal charges of acting as an agent of China. Eileen Wang is set to appear in court this afternoon, expected to plead guilty in the coming days.
She's pleading guilty. Pleading guilty! Holy smokes. Holy smokes, holy smokes, holy smokes. And then, of course, lastly, before we dive in, we've already talked about Sebastian Rogers, so before we dive into Nancy Guthrie, I just wanted to tell you, we have a lot of trips and cruises kind of under fire over the last few weeks, from hantavirus to norovirus to pornography, CSAM type of disgusting, let's go in there. And it was 28 employees across 8 ships, including Disney. Now, you guys need to understand this, because for years, here and there, people just disappeared on ships, on these cruise ships. Okay? And most of them were adults, on cruise ships, getting somebody spiking their drink and them disappearing. And many people believed that this was a huge ST a trafficking type of scenario, a worldwide cruise. When we pick up someone, some people know some people that know some people. And while it hasn't been widely known or talked about, because it's one here, one there, one person that disappears out of 100,000 people or 1 million people on cruises, nobody cares about. They just assume they went over. They assume a lot of different things. But I don't believe that. I believe that this has been going on, and this is much deeper than just the CSAM. I think the CSAM is problematic, but now in our new digital age, people are fine with videos and photos as opposed to having to. Anyways, you guys are kind of connecting the dots. So I'm a little concerned about this, but Disney is involved with some really despicable practices, and so many of their employees are deranged. And I don't understand how in the world one company can find all of the pieces of garbage in this world to actually work for them around children, but they do. And it shows you right there, they're not doing proper psychological testing on them. They're not doing proper background testing on them, because these people have histories. They don't do anything. They put your children and your families in harm's way. Disney does. And they have been doing it for years. Back when I went there, we didn't have this problem. Back when they were doing stuff, we didn't have them trying to twist our children up and groom with a G our children, right? But now that's all Disney does. They're a grooming channel. That's it. That's it. And parents are taking their children to these places and having these freaks, making sure that they touch it just to move them along in the line. And then they're going in. Okay. You guys know how I feel about it. Right? You guys know how I feel about it. All right, guys. Before we jump into Nancy, what's this one? Okay, yeah. I hate when this stuff doesn't. Before we jump into Nancy Guthrie's case, we've been kind of bouncing back and forth and comparing the cases, Nancy Guthrie and Sebastian Rogers' case, kind of similarly, even though they've happened 2 years apart from each other. They are in different parts of the country. They have different sheriffs and different states completely, but they still hold very similar circumstances and issues, right? And those circumstances or issues is a corrupted area. We know both Pima County has been corrupted, and we know that Sumner County has been corrupted. We've known that these were well known long before these people disappeared. So it's not like this was all unveiled by the time these two individuals disappeared, one in 2024 and one in 2026, okay? There was corruption that was well known and widespread prior to it. The initial investigation was horrible. Pima County didn't know what they were doing in Nancy Guthrie's case, and Sumner County Sheriff's Department didn't know what the hell they were doing in Sebastian's case. Neither one closed the crime scenes down immediately. Sumner County never closed their crime scene down. Never. They never closed down Sebastian's house. They never taped it off with crime scene tape. They have never done that. They have never treated Sebastian's home as a crime scene. And then when we look at Nancy Guthrie's home, it took pulling teeth to get them to take that home as a crime scene. Now, we're going to have to talk a little bit about, we're not going to talk about it right now, and I know Mike has already brought it up. Hello, Mike. It's nice to see you, love. But he's already brought up the flip-flop of detective or Officer Croft or whatever he is. I don't know if he's an officer anymore because, the politics and stuff like that, but he's the president of the police union. So obviously he's somehow law enforcement-esque. I don't know what yet, but he's been a staunch critic of Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos. But he kind of walked some things back to kind of the way we knew more of. He misunderstood somebody and went on Brian Enton, and then Brian Enton just recently released the corrected information, and of course we've seen that. Hey, Brown Eyes, oh, thank you, love, I appreciate it. It's kind of not so poofy now. I did my natural color kind of weaved in with the gray. I didn't want to lose the gray, because I'm older now. I'm not trying to be like a teeny bopper, I'm not there, right? I'm 46 years old. I want a little gray. I just want to make sure I'm attracting the right type of friends. Nothing too young, nothing too old, the people that kind of understand me. Because I don't have crayons. I don't have the time, patience, or the crayons to teach anyone. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Thank you. Feels good. Feels better, right? It's all nice and silky now. Healthy. And I got her, because most ladies have to go 4 to 6 weeks. I got myself on an 8-week plan. Ooh, that's even better. That's even better. I like the 8-week plan. Just, it just saves you an extra. I'm a conservative. I'm a cheap. I'm just saying. You guys know that. I'm a cheap. I hate spending money. I get grumpy. That's why I have to do my bills on the rotisserie plan, right? I used to have to write the checks out each week, right? I got so, I would be spitting bullets by the time I did all of the bills. I mean, just, since I can put myself on the rotisserie plan, you set it and forget it, right? You go in there, you set your everything and say, okay, do I have dress money? Do I have shoe money? Do I have hair money? Do I have nail money? Do I have lunch money for next week? Right? You hold your breath, you hold on tight, and you're like, what's left over? And then some months you're like, oh, thank God. And some months you're like, oh, shit. Right? That's the rotisserie plan. If you guys don't know it, I definitely recommend it. It'll keep you right up there. I was a bear too. I hated paying bills, and when you're kind of, it just sucks because you micromanage so much of your life. My mom's a micromanager when it comes to finances, and I used to be kind of a micromanager when it comes to finances because, when you're a little tight, it comes down to the pennies and cents. I'm just saying, some months just come up like that. It just comes down to the pennies and cents, right? You just want to make sure as long as you ain't red and you in the black, you're at the end of the month, you're like, hallelujah, another month gone. God, we're average Joes over here on this channel, okay? I'm not something special. I don't live a something special life like some people want to look too cool for school and want to show like they're like the big shit, like walking in airports, say, hey, right? We ain't like that. We're just average Joes over here, okay? We all have the same problems. I like you guys knowing I'm just like you. All right? I have ups and downs just like you. I think that's what makes us connect when we do these cases, right? So, anyways, we do have Sebastian Rogers. He was 15 years old when he disappeared on February 25th. He was reported missing on February 26th. The parents weren't acting right. Not just the mom and the stepfather were not acting right from the beginning of this case. The father, Seth Rogers, he's very much been the emotional drive of this case. If it was left to Chris and Katie Proudfoot, this case would have been quieted down so quickly. If Sebastian wasn't loved by his biological father, he would just be another face and a name that would have just fell off. And nobody would have ever known his story. But because of his father, because of the circumstances that led social media knocking on the front door of this case, which again is not a typical case for the true crime community, right? The details of this case was a teenage boy that ran away from home. That's what we learned. We don't cover, most of us here in true crime don't cover those cases because we have, like, kids run away. They're a dime a dozen. We would literally not be focusing on the cases that need real attention, like the missing person cases that have received homicide type of situations, because those are the ones that need the most attention. Runaway kids, yes, they do need attention, and so we use other avenues to bring attention, like the groups, like the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and like Twitter. Making sure we share those things out so people are seeing them out there in social media and they're reading about their cases, but it's not consuming all of our time to search for runaway kids. They are at risk, and I want to make sure that you guys know that. Runaway kids are at risk. They're at more of a risk of becoming, workers on the streets and dealers on the streets and, other types of crimes, robberies, and all those other things. So to try to support themselves when they run away. So they are at risk, and people manipulate them and people use them. And it is very dangerous for them, as you guys can imagine. So we don't want to downplay runaways as like, oh, they're just runaways, they'll come home and no, it's not like that. We don't believe that over here. We believe it's important that their voices be out there, their faces be out there for people to see, because they are at risk. They're at risk of ST, HT, and grooming with a G, right? So we want to make sure that they're safe and as well. But for other cases, like Sebastian Rogers was kind of a fluke, because in the grand scheme of things, we would never have covered this case. But out the gate, it seemed like there was some unwritten issue here that nobody wanted to talk about when it came to the Sebastian Rogers case. Like Chris was working too hard to preserve this facade that it made us realize that there is a facade. For example, we learned right up front that he was screaming at the media to take the cameras off his house during that first day. I have never heard of anybody else ever in the history of a missing child ever do that to a camera crew. Usually they're hysterical. Usually they're running up there with a picture of their kid, begging them to please find their child, screaming at them to basically leave, and to leave them alone when they had a missing child that had medical issues, and not seeing that freaking out of the child actually missing. That was the first telltale sign that these people, something was not right. Why when law enforcement saw Chris acting this way, why they didn't immediately shut that house down as a crime scene, because that to me would have been a red flag, major red flag issue. I don't know why. They had the authority so why didn't they? Why didn't they? And then, of course, at night, they stepped up to the plate. Shortly after I was arrested, they started coming into the case and decided to elevate some of the monetary reward and started working that front. Instead of Chris and Katie thanking them for bringing such money to the table, they actually tried to discredit them. Discredit somebody that's bringing $500,000 in to help find your child. Can you imagine that? And it was all structured. I mean, granted, the person that ended up getting, that had the lead coming in wouldn't immediately get $500,000, up front. There was a process that went through, and it took several years to acquire that whole $500,000 because of the way that the reward was structured. But it's still $500,000 that somebody is getting. So why in the hell would you be trying to act like that's not legitimate? And even if they didn't believe it was legitimate, which it was legitimate. I mean, it's at night, it's affiliated and associated with Dog the Bounty Hunter. We know that they have a clientele with their firm. We've seen them represent even, what was that one guy? I mean, they represent a lot of I don't know if you know that, but they do represent a lot of talent. And are affiliated with a lot of talent as well. But where am I going with this? They had this $500,000, and then of course the family was criticizing it and dissing it. It's not Seth, but Chris and Katie. And even if they thought that this was an illegitimate offer, it wasn't on Chris and Katie's shoulders. It was on this company at night that was not affiliated with them. So why wouldn't they use that opportunity to really push their son one way or another? It would never have fallen back on them, but it was something that would generate new leads for their kid, even if illegitimate, which again, I'm saying it's not. The reason why they were able to offer such a large reward is because it wasn't something that they just had to pony up $500,000 in one lump sum. It is a process. It takes several years to acquire that full amount, but either way, anybody's going to be happy if they're getting $500,000 over 5 or so years. That's like $100,000 extra a year. I don't see anybody bitching about that, and it was well disclosed in their marketing material for this amount. So again, coming back to why did they do that? I have no idea. But again, more red flags, more red flags, more red flags. Anybody would capitalize off a $500,000 offer when their child's missing. Let me put it to a poll. Let's do this. Let's put it to a poll. If your child was missing and someone offered a $500,000 to bring answers, capital. Oh no! I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to do this. It only gives me 100 characters and I'm over my 100 characters. Damn it. Let me see how I would do this. Hold on a second. I think I'm gonna have to go to ChatGPT. Hold on a second. Why is it not opening? Let's try it again. New? There we go. ChatGPT. There we are. They have a way for me to do it voice-wise. Oh, they don't. Oh, there it is. There it is. Hold on. Let's see. Let's dictate. If I need to get this question into 100 characters or less, I want to ask my audience if they have a child that's missing and someone comes along with a $500,000 reward, whether you believe it's legitimate or not, would you capitalize off that to push your child's story? Okay, let's see what it comes up with. Let's see if I can get my 100 characters or less for... Okay, it did it for me. There we go. Okay, let's copy. All right, here's the... I went too long and I didn't want to have to try to figure it out. It got it 120... Nope, it needs to be 100 characters. Hold on. This didn't do it either. Characters. It's too long. It's 100. It's 122 characters. Let's see if it can do it. Let's see. This is crazy. I don't think it can do it. I think the question's too long. We might have to do it. It's thinking too, like really thinking. Okay, Okay, it thought about it. This is what it came up with. This one will work. This one will work. You guys know what we're asking anyways, but I need to be able to... We did it! Thank you. Let me tell... Oh, and it tells me I'm out with... ChatGPT says, you've used all of your credits for today. Now you have to start all over. Okay, here it is. All right, we got the poll. We got the poll. It took a while. But we got it. So the question is, would you use a $500,000 reward offer to push your missing child story legit or not? It took a while. It's hard to believe it took that long to get that. But let's see. We'll let you guys go through that while we read this. So I want to read this to you because I think this is important. They have changed the fee structure for Sebastian Rogers. Remember, there was $500,000. It didn't really work. So now they're kind of splitting the $500,000 up. And they're saying if he's alive and you can prove he's alive, we'll give you $300,000. But any other information for evidence in the alternative and reaches a level as sufficient to be used by law enforcement and subsequent prosecution, there's $200,000. So if he's deceased, the person that helps bring this case to a close will receive $200,000, and if he's alive and can come home, they'll receive $300,000. So I want to make sure that we read this to you guys, and then once I'm done with this, we'll check on the poll. If you guys haven't done the poll, please go over there and do the poll. We have 217 people in chat right now. If you haven't already hit the thumbs up, please do. I think I forgot to say good morning to all of you guys. Oh my gosh. Hold on, let me say morning to all the people that have helped out. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Melanie, thank you. Says happy Tuesday, Betty. Delilah mods in chat sending love to everyone in prayer, whoever needs them. BHB, thanks for all you do for the missing. Thank you. Miss Peggy says hope it helps with your lawsuit. We're backing you. Thank you. Brown eyes, love your hair. Thank you. Don't forget, guys, you guys have milestones every month that you're a member. You get these beautiful milestones. Don't forget to use them. Rue, thank you. Gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Welcome to this crazy family that we call the Coffee Club. I eat insane asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard.
Mommy doesn't get drunk. She just has fun.
Honestly, it's fake news. It's fake.
It's fake. All right, so what it says over here is this is an at night, creative, intelligent, and one world announcement, enhanced reward structure in the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Up to $300,000 is now offered for verified proof of life. Up to $200,000 is offered in the alternative for lawful obtained information and evidence usable by law enforcement and subsequent prosecutors. At night, creative intelligence with One World is announcing an expanded reward structure in connection with the continuing effort to locate Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, the Tennessee teenager who remains publicly listed as a missing child. The announcement is intended to increase the probability that credits, verifiable and lawfully obtained information reaches the appropriate authorities rapidly and in the form that can be evaluated, preserved, and used. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is currently listed by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children as missing since February 25th, 2024. Again, the information we have learned from TBI is inaccurate. They are using the reported date of his absence versus his actual absence. From Hendersonville, Tennessee. NCMEC lists NCMEC, I guess is what they call it, lists Sebastian as 17 years old. Male associated with the case is the number 201-4106 and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. The FBI Public Missing Records person record states that Sebastian was last seen in the area of a Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Sumner County, Tennessee, and that he was wearing a black sweatshirt and black sweatpants with square-framed glasses. The FBI also reported Sebastian has medical condition, including autism, that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance, which we found out that's not true either. He knew his way around. He knew his way around a lot more than Chris and Katie would have liked to admit that he knew his way around. Up to $300,000 for verified proof of life. This category is intended for credible, current, time-sensitive information demonstrating that Sebastian is alive and capable of being located. Qualified information must be specific, verifiable, lawfully obtained, and immediately provided to law enforcement. Any purported proof must include sufficient context for validity, such as time, place, circumstance, original media file, metadata where available, and a direct route to authorities to act. For authorities to act, rather. 2, up to $200,000 for information and evidence. In the alternative, that reaches a level sufficient to be used by law enforcement and subsequent prosecutors. This category is intended for information or evidence that materially advances official fact-finding, supports law enforcement investigation action, and provides prosecutable evidentiary pathway if the information indicates an alternative outcome. This does not include rumor, speculation, edited screenshots without originally sourced material, or unsupported social media allegations. This reward initiative is not a substitute for law enforcement reporting. Anyone who believes they see Sebastian has urgent location information should call 911 immediately. Anyone with credible information should also call Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI, 1-800-TBI-FIND, NCMEC at 1-800-THE LOST, or FBI, your local field office. Copies may also be sent to tips@manhunts.one. Sebastian's disappearance began as an urgent local missing child response and has remained active and unresolved public safety matter. And Sebastian's community are just fine, not ever looking for him again, which is very, very much upsetting to me. So now we're going to move over to Pima County Sheriff. This is in Arizona, and Nancy Guthrie is a missing grandmother. She's been missing from her home in the Catalina foothills since February 1st, 2026, almost 2 years after Sebastian disappeared. She has not been seen. Originally, we learned that the family was expressing to law enforcement she wouldn't just wander off. But they also had made some statements like they thought the ambulance had come, you know, that maybe that's why the back door was propped open, is because of a stretcher or something to that effect. Which, you know, sounded a little odd, but, you know, nobody ever thought that there was a masked gunman that went into the house to kidnap her out, right? That's the theory. So there were some lines crossed. When Nancy Guthrie was missing, allegedly some people from her church reached out to family members. I'm assuming, what's her name? Annie and Tommaso, their household, not like Savannah, not like Cameron, but it was Annie and Tommaso. They went over there and then they found out that something happened. They called law enforcement, but the lines got crossed with Detective Cross or whatever he is, whoever he is, you know, the president of the police union in Pima County said something to Brian Enton like the family thought she had wandered off by herself, which contradicted much of what Savannah Guthrie had said with her statement with Hoda. And she had talked about that morning, you know, and she even raised that they thought that there might have been an ambulance that came by and picked up their mother. It wasn't. It wasn't like that. at all. As a matter of fact, we found out later that it truly was, in fact, a masked gunman at her front door. So let me go ahead and pull this up here, because Sergeant Aaron Cross is dropping a bombshell on Enton's most recent interview. Savannah insisted in her interview with Hoda from a very early moments, Annie and Tommy were saying that isn't the case, that she just wandered off. But when he said that basically they did say that, he's come out since then and told Brian Enton that he misunderstood, that they didn't say that she wandered off, like walked off. They thought she willingly left with someone, like an ambulance. Like instead of calling the family, for the family to come in there with the ambulance, she just picked up the phone and called 911 and got the ambulance there. You know, that's what their original thought, because they never thought that somebody would go into her house and kidnap her. I mean, think about it. That's like the least probable option. Nobody thinks that that the initial thing when their loved one is missing, that, you know, it's immediately foul play. People don't normally think that unless they live in a area where if you're missing, it's only foul play, you know. And there are some people like that at some places like that, like the Pork and Beans neighborhood in Miami, right? There's nothing good that happens in that area, at least back whenever I was growing up. So if law enforcement is going in, something's wrong. If somebody's missing, something's wrong in that area. But typically, we live in what we perceive as safe communities. We typically feel comfortable. A lot of us lock our doors still and lock our windows and stuff like that. But some of us, you know, like to have the slider open and the screen door shut and lock the screen door. But you got to remember, somebody can just slice those screens and get right into your house, right? If they truly wanted to. But some people feel comfortable and safe enough in their own communities that they feel comfortable leaving their sliding glass doors open, or the front doors open, or they're just the screen doors open to get a breeze in the house, or their windows up at night, you know, so they can get that nice cool breeze and turn off the air conditioning, get some fresh air in the house, right? Nobody thinks that when they walk into a house, like if I walked into my mom's house and the house was all open and I walked in there and she's not there, I'm not thinking immediately somebody came in and took my mom, right? I'm thinking she's walked over to the neighbor's house, you know, she's in the garage tinkering, you know, I go check to see if her car's there. Yeah, her car's here. Go into her room. Is her wallet here? Is her purse here? Yep, her wallet's here, her purse is here. You know, I'm looking around the house. Everything looks kind of normal for a day. You know, the sliding glass door's open. Some of the windows are open. It's nice and cool out. You know, it looks like a normal day that my mom would have. Not noticing anything wrong. I don't know if the first thing that I would see, and if I saw blood on the outside of one of her doors, I would think my mom sliced her hand open, right? And, you know, naturally, if I saw blood, did she go over to the neighbors? I think the first thing I would do is walk to the neighbors to see if my mom had come over there with a hurt hand, or if they seen anything at the house that happened. You know, I'd see myself doing that. I don't think immediately I would be picking up the phone call and calling 911, even with the blood on the outside of the house at my mom's house. Now, if it was someplace else, or, you know, maybe I would, but my mom lives in a, you know, what we perceive, just like they did, a very safe community, you know? 1156. I mean, I'm not going to split hairs. You guys get it. Sorry, I guess it does matter, but, you know, sorry for the misspeak. Well, we're finding out that was inaccurate. What they were talking about is leaving, like calling an ambulance and having the ambulance come get her and just forgetting to tell her family. That's what they originally thought. And that was more in line with what we understood it to be with Savannah. And when you go back to the interview with Hoda, she talked about that. She had already talked about that. So I think that what is it, Casey, where does C take Sebastian? I believe I think we're all in agreement. I think she did something to him, and I think Chris has helped her cover it up. And he's just smitten with himself that he was able. But it's not hard to bamboozle someone when there's you got frickin' Barney Fife as the police chief, you know, just inexperienced pretty boy. Just an inexperienced pretty boy. He looks good on a flyer. That's why they voted for that piece of garbage. Sheriff Snuggle Struggles. I mean, why are we calling him Sheriff Snuggle Struggles? Because he's a despicable human being that posted some... He's a sheriff. He was a deputy sheriff, a lieutenant deputy sheriff at the time of posting that disgusting post he thought was funny. It's not funny. It was never funny. Never. So Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today host Savannah Guthrie, remains missing nearly 100 days after she disappeared from her home in the Catalina foothills of Tucson, Arizona. Little is known about who took Nancy Guthrie. We shouldn't be little is known, right? We should have a lot more information. We should have a car to be looking for. We should have a suspect to be looking for. We should have some type of, you know, personality or profile information that could help guide us from the feds. You know, obviously Kash Patel was just on Sean Hannity, but he didn't even, you know, he's not even working with the FBI to put out a little more information. This lady is still missing, and it doesn't sound like we're any closer to whoever did it, except with the exception of you know, Sheriff Nanos, right? Saying that we're a little bit closer. Do I have that? Hold on a second. Do I have that? Nancy. Do we have that?
All right, it looks like the sheriff has walked up to the podium.
No, that's the wrong one. Let's go back. I don't want to get too far back. Let's go back to where we were. I guess it's going to be all the way down at the bottom. Okay, well then we'll go all the way down to the bottom. Let's see where we are. Morning research, that means it's all the way down. I think it's this one. I know I saved it. That's a Gmail. Nope. Nope. The heck? Where is it? Huh. Where is it? Give me just a second. Let me look at Nancy Guthrie. And it went to Gmail, and I don't know why it went to Gmail. There it is. I don't like that. Hold on, guys. Let me. I know I got it. I saved it this morning. Current morning. Okay, and it was in Nancy Guthrie. Okay. Okay, there it is. Found it. Sorry, I was in the wrong file. There it is. It's coming up now. It's coming up now. So make sure we have our... I don't see my sound.
Good. It's Mother's Day on Sunday.
Okay, here, let's just...
Hey Sheriff, how are you? Good. It's Mother's Day on Sunday. I was wondering if you had a message for the Guthrie family. Sorry, sir? Okay. You're okay? It's 100 days now almost, sir. Are you guys any closer to solving?
We are.
Good, that's good to hear. Thank you, sir. You have a great weekend. Thank you.
Any closer to solving the case as he's getting into his fancy dancy Corvette that he likes, forcing his own residents off the road so he can speed around them. This man had no business being the sheriff. And people, I hope this helps wake people up to doing better research for their politicians. Politicians can ruin your county. They can ruin your life. All right, let's get back to Sebastian real quick. Would you use a $500,000 reward offered to push your missing child story, whether it's legit or not? And 88% of, or 83%, maybe it's, I couldn't read it. 83%, is that right? Yeah, 83%, because it's 17%, said no. 83% said yes. The 17% that said no, that's very, so if your child went missing, you wouldn't just use anything to promote your child, to try to find your child. I find that. I have to think that a few of those 17% is truly trolls that are watching this show. Yeah, 83 to 17. Because I'm going to tell you, I think any normal mom won't give a rat's ass. They're going to use anything to get their child's case looked at. Anybody that's not guilty of a crime against their child is going to use anything at their disposal to bring awareness to their missing child. I truly believe that. So that's just my opinion. Obviously, we have a poll that says 83% says yes, 17% says no. I got to be honest with you, that 17% is very questionable to me. Very questionable to me. Sad to say, yeah. Na 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 na, na 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 na. Hey, 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 goodbye. Yep, that's what that's gonna be our new that's gonna be our new song for Sheriff Na-na-na-na-nos. Na-na-na-nos. Na-na-na-nos. Hey, 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 goodbye. Oh, Shiny Object says 9% trolls, 8% fat fingers. I believe that one. I absolutely believe that one. Na-na-na-nos. Na-na-na-nos. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. I'm just joking. So Nancy Guthrie, still missing over 100 days. You know, again, coming back to it, it's just like still missing, still ignored, you know. Nanos won't talk about Guthrie. Craddock won't talk about Sebastian. They literally want they want us, they want the world, and they want these cases to go away. I have never met such evil sheriffs before in my life. Like, I call them evil. I truly believe they are evil. Evil. Is he gone? Not yet. It sounds like Pima County supervisors, though, are kind of they're done. They're done with him. I truly believe that and it's bipartisan, and that's what's important here, is that this is being led by Republican. Like, I think there was one Republican on their board, and the rest of them are Democrats. And so it feels like to me, outside of like one or two of the five, it sounds like they're done with Nanos. In all fairness, I mean, they've got to look at several things. First of all, they're the ones that have to fund this. They're the ones that create the taxes. They're the ones that have to balance the budget. They're the ones that, you know, and when you see your sheriff having a pissing contest that costs you $200,000, it really does get under your skin, okay? It was something that was unnecessary, and it was something that caused delays in a very national case. I think it upset the purse strings. I mean, not just on a purse string level, but also on this is our like just an embarrassment level, okay? Think about being supervisors of a county, you thinking yourself as professional. It sounds like one of their people is like, one of their supervisors is a doctor. You don't get any more proper, prim and proper than a freaking doctor, okay? And you're up at a podium for the county saying, I've never had to be held accountable to my words after just coming off of lying under oath. Well, it sounds like they are absolutely going to make this man accountable for his words. And how dare you say that? I mean, people are looking at Miss Guthrie like their grandmother. Okay? Looking at Miss Guthrie, like many of us, are looking at her like our grandmother. This lady could be anybody's grandmother across this country. And you're dangling with her life on a public platform where the whole world is paying attention and looking at you like a miserable bonehead. And the county is having to eat crow because I guarantee you every politician that knows them says, what the hell is this asshole doing? Okay? Everybody up the food chain is calling that county saying, what the hell is going on here? I know I would be. I know here in the state of Florida, if something, well, you guys see our governor and our AG, right? They're very vocal. If we have somebody out of line, they go straight to social media. We don't play here in Florida. We don't try to sugarcoat or hide or anything like that. It's a little miserable at times because it does show a lot of infighting. But hey, if there's infighting, there's infighting, right? People don't always agree. But this was so horrible because this lady's life hung in the balance. This lady's life hung in the balance, and we were all being told she's still alive, and we have minutes and moments to find her, to save her. That's what we were being told. And then we were watching this man make decisions for this case that delayed. When this lady had no delays, we needed to find her to save her life. That's what we were told. Now, 100 days later, we all believe she's dead. Many people believe she could have been saved if not for Chris Nanos. I don't know. We were all watching this unfold together. It was very hopeless and helpless to watch. We were angry. We went through a lot of emotions watching it. We were all doing our best just to try to save her. You know, all the infighting and everything we figured can happen after we bring her home, right? But it just got worse and worse. And we started hearing more and more and more. And it made us sick. It made us sick that any law enforcement body would literally jeopardize somebody's life over a pissing contest. And I don't think that we are off base here by saying it seems like that's what happened. It seems like that is exactly what happened. So I don't know. One thing you don't want to do is come into my chat and be disrespectful. So please, if you don't like this channel, I think it's deranged. I think that you have to be a psychotic idiot to hang out on a channel you don't like and people you don't like. I think that you have definitely mental illness issues if that's what you choose to do. I think you're mentally ill. So quit being mentally ill. Go get counseling. Go get some drugs from a counselor to stabilize your brain, whatever you need to do. But normal people don't come on other people's show just to antagonize people. That is so childish and so stupid. My original theory was Sebastian was in trouble and Crispy showed up late. It's possible, but you guys, I think the reason why you like to talk about Chris like that is because you don't know how evil Katie is. I think people just don't understand how evil Katie is. Katie used to beat Seth while he slept. People like that just don't change. And when Chris isn't there, who else is there to take the brunt of that? This lady was messed up from a child at 5 years old. That lady's got some major mental health issues that are going unmedicated. How do we know that? Because she admitted it on Nancy Grace. She's not taking any medication. You don't get AR'd at 5 years old by your mom and her boyfriend and not have some major issues upstairs. Okay? It just doesn't happen that way. So they're trying to convince us that she's okay. No, she is not. That lady is a frickin' Looney Tune. Allegedly and in my opinion. And then to still have something to do with her own mother, to have her mother on the phone, to show her mother her son, after doing that to her, there's something, I don't know, there's something wrong with that lady. There's something seriously deep-seated wrong with that lady upstairs. She is psycho. Allegedly, in my opinion, which again, entitled to. But I'm sorry, you just don't go through the walk she went through unmedicated and come out okay. Okay? This is something that I'm well versed in. So, and she wanted her child gone. She was losing everything. She was such a materialistic woman. She wanted the things, and she was looking at losing the things because Chris told her it's either him or me. You can't afford this lifestyle without me. And then he chose never to come home again. And then all of a sudden her son's missing and he comes home. And we got Barney Fife running the freaking investigation. Just saying. May 8th, Pasco County. May 8th is coming soon. What's May 8th? May 8th is already gone. It's May 12th. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about, Mike. No earthly idea what you're talking about, kid. Hello, Investigators Unite. Yeah, I wish they would. I think, why would Sumner County be bearing the cost of Sebastian Rogers' case when they can hand it to the federal government? You know? Like, he's pissing away their money, the taxpayers' money, and holding on to it. Well, he's not pissing any money away. Maybe he's holding on to it so he can control the case and make sure it's not solved. Something's wrong with them. I don't know. I don't trust them. When I see them constantly throwing innocent people in jail and letting people like Chris and Katie that have probable cause, in my opinion, based upon everything I've read, and I'm not just talking about the statutes. I'm talking about the case law that accompanies those statutes. I'm talking about other cases similar to Chris and Katie's. They have probable cause and had probable cause for child abuse. They had it in Summer Wells as well. But the two most corrupted counties in the state of Tennessee refused to charge either parent. The statutes of limitations have already run out on Candace and Don Wells. The statutes of limitations have run out. And Sumner County is going to let the statutes of limitations run out on Chris and Katie as well. Like, this is their MO in Tennessee. The parents always walk. All they have to do is hide the children. They kill the children, they hide the children. Right? So why are they not creating better laws for them to be able to go after the parents criminally when they cannot produce the child? They've had years to get this kind of legislation and new laws addressed in their books. So the next child that's hidden well because the parents, and statistically, this is reality. Okay, the statistics don't lie. They do have an outlier associated with them. YouTube and social media don't like us talking about the statistics of child homicides and who is responsible. Why? I don't know. It's education. It's newsworthiness. It's truthful information. But they frown upon it. They want you to be in a kumbaya world thinking that parents don't do this. And the reality of it, especially with autistic children, it's more than not the caretaker or the parent. More times than not. That have committed homicide against them. And then they step away and walk away. In Tennessee, all they have to do is make sure the individual, whether it be a child or an adult, is hidden well. Because Tennessee is by far one of the worst states in this whole entire United States. Because they do not bring no-body homicides. Instead of them thinking that the public don't get it, I think the DAs and the sheriffs across Tennessee are dumb for not doing that. Dumb. And if they don't know how to bring a no-body case at this juncture in our country, 2026, where everything's recorded, if they can't bring no-body cases to trial in this environment, then it's no longer the jury or the jury body in each community. It's the people that are running, right? It's the DA, it's the sheriff, but it's mostly the DA. It's the prosecutors. They need to be fired and replaced with people that know how to do their job. If you cannot bring a nobody homicide to fruition in the state of Tennessee when you have circumstantial evidence, that is not a jury issue, that is a prosecutor issue. This is 2026, folks. We shouldn't, in 2026, we should not have to even hardly have eyewitnesses in 2026. Even Dolly agreed with me last night that he believes more than 2 people were involved in the porch guy. Never entered, I think is what you meant to say, entered Nancy's home. It's possible. I mean, there's a reason why the back door and everything was open. I keep wondering, was somebody sitting back there waiting for her to come home and had everything open and was already in the house, or, you know, just sitting back there watching until she arrived home? I mean, I don't know. I almost want to drive into the driveway just to see what that would look like going up to drop her off. But, you know, it's private property and you can't do that, right? So, but it's a little tidbit of information I think that would be beneficial, you know, into understanding what it looked like, you know, at night, going into her dropping her off at night at almost 10 o'clock at night. And everybody's like, well, what about the time? Well, that's awfully late. Well, there are some elderly people that go to bed really late and get up very, very early, you know, or even get up later in the day. It's just their cycle. We can't be judging somebody on their cycle. I mean, I go to bed very, very early and get up very, very early. But when I do go to bed later, I get up later, right? Sometimes I get up at my body's on the normal routine and it wakes me up whether I like it or not. Statutes of limitation should be unlimited. That's insane, evil, and cruel. I agree. And they should have the ability for, like, children when they become adults to tell their story. And if their family did things to them, they should be able to hold them accountable later, because as children, they're told to shut up. They're at the mercy of whoever's taking care of them, or even, let's face it, sometimes even the law enforcement, they're intimidating. Are you sure? Are you sure that's the way your parents are going to get in a lot of trouble if you come to the store? Like, they're intimidated. Like, I've seen it all. I do not like Tennessee. I honestly wanted to move to Tennessee. Once upon a time, I thought Tennessee was a beautiful state. I wanted to move there because it was a less expensive state. I could buy a bigger house and bigger property for the same amount of money that I could buy a smaller house and smaller property for here in Florida. So I actually entertained moving to Tennessee, and that was before I ever even entertained the possibility of doing true crime on YouTube or social media. I never entertained that. That kind of came like a natural progression because of some activism I did. And I don't know, now that I've been here, now that I've got, like, every single one of our cases that have gone viral in Tennessee have all been unsuccessful. Nobody has been charged. They've never found the bodies. I'm just sick of the same old. And the state of Tennessee knows that this is the case. Yet they have done nothing on a legal front to help curb some of it, to help law enforcement get the bad guys. Like, if there's certain things that happen to conceal something, if they can find that, then they can bring this. Like, for example, people were leaving the scenes of car accidents because they were under the influence of alcohol. And so whenever law enforcement, as long as they got their car home, law enforcement could only give them a wrecked ticket. They could no longer be charged with a DUI or even, vehicular homicide with alcohol or something like that. Even if somebody died, they could get them with vehicular homicide and, leaving the scene, but the extenuating circumstances would drop. And then they realized the majority of people that flee the scene are usually under the influence of alcohol. So what do? They changed the law in the state of Florida saying you flee the scene, whether you're drunk or not, it is going to be treated as you were under the influence of alcohol. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Either you stay there or you're going to be charged as if you were under the influence of alcohol. And they made that law in the state of Florida. So if you leave the scene, whether it's especially if somebody loses their life and you were just scared and you lose the scene, you just committed a major felony, because it went from an accident with a death that you may not have been charged with criminally to now a vehicular homicide by DUI. That's how they look at it. And those criminal penalties that go across. So what I'm trying to explain is that Tennessee has had enough time to fix and correct the issue. They know it exists, and they've done squat to fix it or to balance the fairness. Criminals should not be able to get away with things by moving a person and hiding and concealing a crime. If there's any elements, anything that remotely can trigger something, they should have a law saying if this happens, you're going to be charged as if you killed somebody. And that's what they need to do, and they have yet to do it. They have yet to do it. We could have a lot more circumstantial cases going through. And there's a lot of circumstantial cases they could have right now. They're like, oh, well, we just don't want to go after them for the second degree. We're just going to wait here for 20 or 30 or 40 years. So we can try to find the body. They can live their life, but we'll catch them eventually. I'm so sick of that Barney crap. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it, and everybody seems to be as well. In my opinion, KK is a cold-hearted. KK never loved. No, she jeopardized his life many times when he was little. Even ESA, she never protected him. Everything bad that has ever happened to Sebastian Rogers happened under his mom and stepfather's watch. Everything bad that has happened to him. I can tell you as an SA survivor, my children, my stepchildren, my grandchildren, they would never, ever, I'd never have to worry about them being SA'd because I was SA'd and I know what happens. I would never let them out of my sight with anybody. If they had friends, if it was anybody but them, if they had friends over here, they never went out of my sight. Why? Because we don't want anything happening to them. We never take our eyes off of them. We never allow them to go into rooms by themselves with closed doors. We don't do those things because the kids are young and they can get in trouble and do stuff, especially if they're playing with older children. Yet she's an SA victim, familial SA victim. That means her mom did what she did to her. Her mom and her mom's boyfriend. Disgusting. So she should be more hover mom than anybody else. And she allowed the same thing to happen to her own child. She allowed the same thing to happen to her. How do you do that? How do you do that? Thank you. It hasn't popped up on my end yet. Give me just a second. I have some issues. There it goes. We got Mama. Oh, good gracious. I have a little lag here, so I apologize. Would you be interested in covering Audria Bowman's case? I know her birth mother, and she will happily talk to you. I'm happy to cover any case. How old is the case, and what are the details of the case, or whether I can help or not? Those are things. So if you want to send me to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, I'm happy to look at the case and pull some information and give you an overview, whether we could help or couldn't help, but we would love to help it if her mom or her family just wants more coverage of it. We could definitely do something. Yeah, we could definitely do something, whether it's an interview or just something to help promote a case to get it a little further out there. I'm always happy to help any way that I can. You know that. So yeah, absolutely. Send me some details, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Let me see if I write this down. Andrea Bowman. What state is that in? Wow, this is a cold case. We don't do well with cold cases. At least I haven't, but I'm always up for a challenge. This happened in 1989. This will be, yeah, I think if I research this case, because we do have some information that we can, kind of like a John Bonet thing, I can probably do some research on this case and have some, questions, or, do something like where's the case now type of a segment, Yeah, if you'd like to, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And Mama sent one Bullhorn Betty gifted. Oh, thank you, Mama. Mama gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. McMadre Heather, welcome to the Fam. Welcome to the Fam. Don't forget, all you new folks, you guys got those milestones. So you can always write a little milestone in here if you have any questions, if you want to make any statements about any cases that we cover. So I hope you guys do that. All we know from Nancy Guthrie's case is that any male who can grow a mustache could be the perpetrator. I think we have a little more information. I think that the person would be olive skin, brown eyes, brown hair. I think we do have a little more information than just, can grow a mustache. We do have, brown, olive, dark hair. So we're looking for Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Italian. I think we're in line more with that. I don't think we're, completely just, any guy that can grow facial hair. I mean, any guy that can grow facial hair of the dark nature, right? Some people have red hair. Some people have blonde hair. However, this was jet black, it seemed like. Jet black or dark brown. So we got to keep that into consideration. Weird. The mayor guy is always acting. He's great him own self, yet it's a dump. I don't know. No dogs, no training, no shape, no case. Saw pedos running free, and I don't know who you're talking about, Sasha. Sorry. I don't know who you're talking about. All right, guys, that's really all I do have for presentation today. We're coming off of Lynette Hooker. Oh, yeah, let's go over those things real quick before we dip out of here. We did have some stuff. You guys got to watch it live. For those that weren't with us for the 5 hours that we were there, we've got we went out there to find the soulmate. We found the soulmate. I wasn't sure if we had the right Coast Guard. As soon as I saw the Coast Guard and there was only one sailboat that they had behind them, then I kind of knew, okay, we got this. So let's see. This is JPEG. That's a movie. We can do that on the second one. JPEG. How do I get a PNG and JPEG? Oh, because I made those. Okay, I know why those are like that, so I don't need those. Okay, so let's see if we can open these up with Google Chrome. All right. There we go. What? There it is. Right there. There is the soulmate. We went out there yesterday. It was a very long day, almost an 8-hour day. We got it from as many different angles as we could get it to confirm whether this truly was the soulmate. It is the soulmate. We were not physically, personally able to confirm it from seeing the name soulmate. We identified the mast. All this right here that you're seeing here, we identified that as being like the soulmate, the color of the sail like the soulmate. We had a lot of like similarity type things affiliated with it, but Brian Enton was also out there. We were going to rent a pontoon boat, $250 for 2 hours just to go out and confirm it. But as we were making those decisions, people were saying that Brian Enton was out in the water on a kayak. And so they sent me the footage because that was the only thing we wanted to do, is confirm that it truly is, in fact, the soulmate. And it truly is, in fact, the soulmate. As you guys can see, I am behind the U.S. Coast Guard fence. You know, a lot of people like to say some, you know, nasty gram type things to me. And at the end of the day, we do follow the rules. I tried to call the Coast Guard just to get maybe a statement on the record about the soulmate. They wouldn't answer the phone. So I had no way to confirm that this was the soulmate. So had Brian Enton not been out in the water, we would have ended up having to rent the pontoon. And the reason why I was going to rent the pontoon instead of just going and asking somebody to borrow their kayak is because I had my dog with me, and my dog needs flat surface, okay? She needs to have flat surface so she is comfortable. My dog, she's a little wonky because she's a sheltered dog with a separation anxiety, and it's all my fault because I love my dog so much, and we just hang around each other, all the time. We're just together. What can I say? My dog loves me. I love my dog. We're together all the time. So it's a good thing, not a bad thing. But either way, we did make it out there. It took us 3 hours, 15 minutes there, 3 hours, 15 minutes home. And then, of course, we were around the area for about an hour trying to see if we could get a better view of it. Where they have this boat, it's kind of in this cove. There's no real good place for them to sit the sailboat, and that's what we were betting on when we were heading up there. And the reason why I chose to do it yesterday instead of waiting an additional day is because I figured they might be having some paperwork issue, and we don't know where this boat's going to go. Is it going to be stationed here for a while, or so they can do the forensic testing on it? Is this where they're going to hold it until the courts figure out what they want to do with the boat? Or is it just being held here until some paperwork is filled out so it can be taken to a testing facility, or a facility that they can take it and do some real forensics on this? Lynette Hooker, 55-year-old Michigan mom, sold everything in 2023 with her husband of 25 years, or 22 years at this time, and they made their way out on the water, and they've been living out on the water, this boating lifestyle, for the past 3 years. And it has not been easy. It has come with its own set of challenges, and part of those challenges are Lynette and Brian had a very, I guess, violent history. You know, they drink and they get in fights, and then those fights turn physical. They're both drinking, they're both fighting, but it seems like there's one that's obviously bigger and hurts the other one a lot. And so it's not that we're blaming, victim shaming, or blaming. We're just taking the same approach that Lynette's mom, Darlene, is taking. She was very truthful about the scenario behind the scenes, and she also says her daughter was right along there with her son-in-law. So we're just repeating that same, because we want the truth. At the end of the day, whatever the truth is, it's the truth, okay? And we need to know the truth. And it's not good to hide the truth because we're scared that it might hurt somebody's feelings or something like that. It doesn't matter what the truth is. This lady did not deserve what she got. She didn't deserve to be senselessly just thrown or casted out because she hasn't been found yet. She has not been found. She can't come home to her family. She can't be put to rest. And we want to know why. Now, I told you guys last night we would come here. I want to show you guys this. Let's do the soulmate, comma, Hooker. Because I want to show you. Let me see if I can do St. Pat's Bay. Or Aunt Pat's Bay. I heard somebody. Who's that? Oh, thank you. Thank you. me go down here. Oh, thank you for the star. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for video. I know she's got this Hull's ass. Be careful. Lawnmower, be careful. Maybe we need to go back to okay, here we go. Maybe it's this one.
Tonight
no,
to that.
I don't like that one. I don't like that one. Let's just go to Ashley Banfield. I know I'll find it, but I want to show you guys because she's out there where the vessel is, right? She's let's see what we got here. Does she have this on a playlist? Let's see if she's got this. Let's see if she's got this on the playlist. Oh, good, she does. Okay, let's look at this playlist here. All right, let's pause that. All right, hold on. It's still thinking. Think.
His first mate.
Okay, there we go. That's all I wanted to do is just pause it. So let's go through here. Last known photos of Lynette. She first got there. It was her first. Sorry, I need to find out if she's already in the bomb. Here it is. So they found the boat. Let's go back. There it is. Okay, so this is the vote. This is the one. This is the one. This is the one I need. Right here. So let's go.
It's a catch.
Okay.
It's 46 feet?
Yes, ma'am. And this is the very boat this is it.
There it is. Okay. This is where their mooring is, okay? So this right here is when Ashley Banfield went to that island, April 15th, okay? This is 11 days. 11 days after Lynette disappeared. 11 days. This is not being occupied. We can kind of see how everything is as it is. I think this is after Brian has already left. This is just kind of out there, right? They've got it all battened down. They've got it all sealed up. But this is out there in Pat's Bay. One thing I want you guys to notice is look directly behind it. All of these boats. Look how close in proximity these other boats are. Big boats, large boats, larger boats than his boat right there. Now, we have to remember, our understanding is he would never have been able to man this boat anchored if his wife was already incapacitated. Because it is my understanding that it takes two people to unanchor this boat. One person at the helm backing it up while the other person is using a pedal or lever system to get the anchor up. So it takes two people to unanchor this vessel. So if Lynette was incapacitated or murdered on this boat, now again, this is all hyperbole, we don't know. He was arrested for suspicion of homicide. He's been let go. He has not been charged with any crime. We don't believe him. I don't believe him. It is my opinion that this man murdered his wife. That's just my opinion. And that means absolutely nothing out there in the real world, right? My opinion is like buttholes. Everybody's got one, right? Everybody's got one. So that's just my opinion. But, you know, at the end of the day, we're looking here. It doesn't look like this boat moved. He turned off his satellites, we believe. Okay? We believe he turned off the satellites at 9:30. We believe that he didn't turn them back on until the Coast Guard brought him back, or the Bohemian police brought him back to this at 8:30. That's what, or the search and rescue guys brought him back to his boat at 8:30. He turned on all of the satellites. Why did he turn those satellites off is the question, especially if he couldn't move the boat. We don't know, but it might have something to do with some type of device that's on his dinghy or on him. We don't know the answer to that. But could he have moved this boat? In my opinion, it's highly unlikely he would have been able to move this boat without her, but we don't know. And it's not definitive yet. We haven't heard anybody say definitively, no, this boat did not leave. But it is my belief it did not leave. So that means he had to think on his toes. He had to find out someplace he could go if he murdered her or she had a lifeless body. He needed to find some place to put her. We've got all of this above my head over here, very close to him, that he could have gotten over to. But I still think that's going to take some time, and the motor on his dinghy might have made too much noise. He might have rowed because he didn't want to wake up the neighbors or have them hear a boat or a motor running at night. He might have had no other choice but to paddle somewhere around here. He has the divots on the back. Oops. Right here, he has the divots on the back of the boat that help pull up the dinghy. So if he has something that helps pull up the dinghy, this also helps him lower the dinghy down to the water. So could he have loaded up Lynette on the dinghy and used the hoist to hoist her down to the water and then got into the boat and moved? Yes, he could have. He could have. He could have also loaded up a cooler on the boat. He could have went over here to these boats over here and hid them under the boats. One thing I didn't hear or see out there, now I could be wrong, but I didn't see anybody with snorkeling or scuba diving gear on checking under these boats. And we're not just looking for a human being, or even at the docks where some of these are, there's actual docks over here that some of these boats are tied up to. Actual docks that they rent slips from. How do we know that he didn't tie her up to a pole underwater at the slip? Did anybody go out there with scuba diving equipment to verify that there's nothing that the drones and fixed wing plane can't see? Because I can tell you, I don't think they can see through boats. I don't think that they can see what's under boats. And this vessel here is pretty long and pretty wide. It's got 3 bathrooms in it, or 3 heads. Not 3 separate bathrooms. 2 separate bathrooms, 3 heads. It's got basically 3 bedrooms. It's got a main bedroom, the bedroom out that they can convert the dining table to a bedroom, and then one at the very front that they're using as a storage unit. That could be converted into a bedroom. So you're not talking about a small vessel here. You are talking about a fairly large vessel and sleeping area under there. So anyways, just wanted to point all this stuff out because this is what I'm talking about. I just think that we need scuba divers out here. Could he have been somewhere? You got to remember, I don't believe he could have moved this big boat. So the chances of her being out in the international waterways, I just don't believe it. She never got back into the dinghy. Oops. Oh, look at that, what it's doing now. I hate when it does that. I hate when it starts doing that. I hate when it starts doing that. Okay, let me Control C. Send that. Control V. See if it fixes it. No, it doesn't. When I go over one side or the other, this thing gets a little finicky. I don't know why. It just does. It just does. So
this is super helpful that Ronnie's going to take us because I know.
So that was interesting. So now from the Bahamas, this sailboat is now official. Oh, it does it to that one too. So it's this whole stream here. Okay, so let me exit out. Hold on, let me see if I can exit out and open it back up and see if it stops doing it. Hold on. Did it stop? Okay, there it goes. It stopped doing it. Sometimes you gotta work. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes it gets a little finicky and it will just be finicky. And it is finicky because it's not even changing. Hold on, let me change it. Unbelievable. Oops. Didn't mean for you guys to see that. Didn't mean for you guys to see that. Okay, Andra, can you help me out here? There we go. There we go. All right, all right. So now we're back. See, now I can go on both sides. It doesn't make it small. I mean, I don't know why it does that. It gets a little, it's some type of technical issue on my end that it just does some weird stuff. And then when I go over to my my messenger, it scrunches the photo up on me. I don't know why it does that, but now I can move around freely without it doing that. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, we're back. We're back. Took me a second. We're back. We're back. Everything was just all janky. Everything was all janky, but now we're good. Now we're good. So this boat has made its journey all the way from the Bahamas to Fort Pierce. And we were out there to see it. So we've got it here. It's in the United States. It's being held by the Coast Guards. Oh, thank you for the jewels. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. That was a kitty go doing the I love it. I love it. Turn it up. Turn it up. OG jitter. Thank you. Thank you. I believe Lynette's body is hidden on Whales Cay. Ooh. Whales Cay Island. Let's look at it. Let's look. Let's look, Mike. Whale Cay Island. Ooh, let me cut and paste that. I want to go to the explore the world one. Earth. I want to go to Earth, not maps. Earth. We're getting it. Oh, it's not it. Hold on. It opened up a... Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, okay. Let's go for a ride. Whee! All right. Let's go exploring. So this is Whale Cay. This is Whale Cay right here. All right, so we see Whale Cay. So where is that? Let's go ahead and put this thing on Whale Cay. Now, this is a new map. Let's do new map. We'll title this project. Might as well title this project. Who? Lynette Hooker. Alright, so we're going to make the blue. Yeah, we'll do blue. Okay, so we'll change the description for the title. We'll move this to Whale Cay. Whale. Okay. Possible POS, BOD. Possible body, L for location. Done. All right, so we got the Whale Cay. So now let's go ahead and let's find out how far away that is from Aunt Pat's Bay. Elbow Cay. I don't know. That seems like it might be a little too far. Save to project. Hold on. That might be a little too far. Let's make this a little bigger so we can see it on the map. Let's change the color to red. That's where we believe she was. Okay. Let's just see. Let's see. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not looking at it right. No, that's too far, Mike. I think that's too far. Where the hell is well? There it is. Wow. Yeah, I don't think he would have been. I don't know. Hold on. Let's measure it. Let's measure it. Now they would have a funky way of going, but let's just measure where we're at. Okay. Okay, what is that in miles? No, Mike, that they're saying that to just angle across, they're saying the length is 97 miles. Oh, sorry, I've never done it. Hold on, let me do that. No, minimum. What is it saying? It's saying length is... Okay, let me see what this... So what is the measurement? I don't think it measured. Let's do that again. Hold on. Let me delete that. Let me delete this. Delete. Let's try it again. Okay. So which one's this one? Solar, no, I don't want to see that. Measure distance of an area. Okay. So we're going to go here to here. We're done. Yeah, it's 96 miles. It's saying it's 96. There's no... unfortunately, Mike, it's just too far. And that's not even going around all of this. That's I don't know how they would be able to go almost 100 miles. I don't know. There it is right there. I don't think that could be possible. It's going in the wrong direction. Come on. What is going on here? Why is this thing freezing on me? Everything's just freezing on me for some reason. I don't know why. It's driving me nuts. Hold on a second. All right. All right, let me move this. Nothing's working. I don't understand what is going on here. All right, well, it just crashed my, hold on a second. Do I have any drops? Oh, I had 86 different dropped frames. I don't like that. But I was expecting technical. How was everything today so far, technically wise? I wasn't able to watch chat too much, and I wanted to find out, you know, how was because I'm obviously having some issues that I should not be having with this system. All of a sudden, these problems started happening. I don't know if it's like I checked my strength of my computer and the internet, and it's showing that I have a very good internet, and I don't run anything when I'm running here. So far, so good. Veronica said in and out some. Yeah, because it's showing I had 86 different drop frames. I don't have any drop frames right now, but it's saying I had 86 drop frames. I don't like that. I should have 0 drop frames. I'm not running my bandwidth. I mean, even my bit rate I've got reduced just to make sure it's not dropping. And anyways, we're all good. Trolls be bye-bye. That's good. That's good. So I don't know, Mike. Yeah, I think we're looking at something like that. Let me look at the other way, but I don't think that that's going to be plausible. I don't think he would have had enough time, even with the sailboat, to make the trip over here. Just my personal opinion, but at least you see it on here. But I am not opposed to, where are we here? Elbow K. Okay, so they were in here, and then this is the area that they're in. Let me find out where. We got Elbow K, Pat. Okay, and then we're going to find out where Marsh Harbor is. So there we are. So that's the area we're in. Is this little tiny area right here? Let me save this to the project. Let's change the color of this to maybe a purple. No, we'll do white. That blends in too much. Maybe orange. There we go. And let me go back to whale. Let me change this one to large too, so we can see them a little better. We're dealing with almost 100 feet or 100 miles. Okay, so let me go ahead and scoot this in. So Whale Harbor is, okay, so we need to just still reduce it. There it goes. So you guys see the difference here. I mean, that's just too far away. That's too far away. I don't know even how long. Let's see how long it would take a sailboat. Miles. No, a sailboat. Good gracious, it changed it. Yeah, it typically takes a sailboat 20 to 25 hours to travel 100 nautical miles. So I think it's a good thought, but I think we need to look a little closer to home. But I think you're on to something. I do believe, in this area here, again, they're not. If he didn't have a sailboat, the dinghy is very slow. So if the dinghy is slow, he would have more nautical. He'd be able to move quicker in the sailboat than the dinghy. So his sailboat is out here. They partied here. The sailboat's out here. And they weren't that far from their sailboat. They say in their dinghy it should take them 15 minutes at best. This right here, this landmass here is lubbers. So we had somebody that had a camera pointed out to Aunt Pat's Bay that saw their soulmate, right? According to the charts, if she would have fallen off the dinghy and died, she should have washed up on lubbers, this land mass right here. She would have never traveled or drifted this way. Neither would he. Neither would he. And the idea that the water is somehow pulling her away and pulling him the opposite direction. I don't know if you guys know the physics or what's behind flowing water, but flowing water typically doesn't drag you apart like that. It doesn't take you this way and take that person this way. It doesn't go. You might be moving the same direction at different speeds, and that might be the case, but for it to just drag you one way and drag her the other way, that in my opinion defies logic. So it sounds like he came up on this brutal side instead of coming around here to this the actual entrance of Marsh Harbor. And from our understanding, it would have taken him about an hour to an hour and a half to navigate this. That means he pulled up on this shore probably around 3 or 3:30 at night. 2:30 to 3 at night to make it to the police to notify him of his wife at 4. They said that the call came in around 4 a.m. Took him an hour and a half to navigate from the dinghy up on the land to even find the officer. So if he's over here, I really think that his ability is going to be taking the dinghy in here and hiding somebody under these boats and docks. Like, this water's crystal clear. So if he's hiding her in the water, he's got to hide her under something in the water. Either in a container, in a bag, in a Tupperware, in a cooler, or, just wrapping her up to a post underwater. He's a scuba diver. He might have scuba diving equipment on this boat so he can go under and he can work and breathe. He's a scuba diver. So we have to look at that aspect of this case as well when it comes to Lynette Hooker. Where could she be? We heard that they took drones and we heard that they took drones and fixed wing crafts. But if a boat or the shadow of a boat is covering up her body, or an item like a cooler or a bag, those drones and fixed wing aircrafts are not going to help identify where she's at. A sunken boat, there could be a sunken boat that he knows about. There's a lot of things. And between Lovers in this area, there's a lot of mangroves too, folks. We even had Ashley Banfield talk about these mangroves right here. The ones right in here, in this area right here. He could absolutely get, some of these, the boat up into some of these areas. But look at look at this yacht right here. This is a huge freaking yacht. If you're driving a drone over that, you ain't seeing something underneath that boat. Just know you're doing amazing things, and that's why we love you. Your realness does not go unnoticed. God bless. Aw, thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. So I don't know. I keep wanting to know, is it possible that, they had scuba divers out there that we just didn't know about? Maybe. But I didn't see or hear anything about scuba divers. And I really think if he couldn't move that boat, we have to look at what really could that dinghy really do, and his timing. I don't think he could go too far. I mean, he's got to be fairly close. She's got to be really, really close. So I'm thinking outside of the box, hiding in plain sight. Where could she hide in plain sight? And I'm looking at all of these boats. All of these boats. And this man used to clean hulls of boats. He has a good understanding of boats. He still cleans hulls of boats for profit. Because I remember we were talking about it, and I'm like, that's exactly what my uncle did when we went to Key West. He worked in Key West. He'd go out on the docks and put a price on cleaning the hulls of the boats, getting all the organisms that attach themselves to boats that stay in the water. It ruins the paint. It can soften the boat. You need it cleaned every now and again, and there's not too many people that are willing to go down there and clean it. My uncle's also a scuba diver, so he puts his scuba pack on and his oxygen, and he goes down and he cleans the boats, and he charges them money, and that's what he did when we were on vacation. He was getting paid while we were on vacation. He had pocket money while we were on vacation, right? Just because he got up very early, I think 5:36, he was out there on the boat. As soon as the sun came up, he was out in the water scrubbing the bottoms of the boats. So we found out that Brian did the same thing. So I truly believe that this man has scuba tanks on the Soulmate, and I truly believe that he has other possible locations that we're not thinking. What about fish nets? Yeah, or cages. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're hitting the nail on the head. But in all fairness, if they're out there in the open water, they could probably see, right? So I'm looking at stuff that's not out there in the open water, stuff that's in the shadows, right? Because shadows can play games on people. Shadows can make things look like nothing's there when there's something there. So is it possible? I believe it's possible. I hope somebody decides to get some scuba gear on and go search that entire, Aunt Pat's Bay, under all those vessels, all those boats that just sit out there, that don't have owners to them, that just sit there to, be in a safe harbor while Because a lot of these people have money out the wazoo. They're not going to be using these every weekend. You know, they bring their family out once or twice a year, and they may have several yachts strategically placed around the United States. I mean, there are people out there that have money just like that. And they're not living on these boats like many other people are, but they have large vessels and they need to store them. So they store them on docks. They store them sometimes in covered places, but the covered storages that they have are very, very costly, right? So these yachts, they're too big for these costly covered things. So they have to leave them out there in the ocean or get a boat slip. If you have a yacht, you're going to get a boat slip because you don't want anybody you want something that has cameras and stuff, because some of these yachts are in the millions of dollars. You're not just going to anchor your yacht out in the international waters and hope it's safe and in 6 months when you decide you're ready to use it again. Some people risk it, and some people never have a problem, but other people have been stolen from or have had their boat taken. There's nothing worse than going out there thinking your boat's there and then realizing, where did the boat go? Oops. Yeah, probably carrying lobster cage. She wasn't very big. She wasn't. You're very, very, yeah. But I'm also remembering whenever we saw Carly on the boat, all of the rope. We saw an endless supply of rope on that boat. And that was a little scary, especially when you have a bag full of ropes over here and you turn over here and there's dumbbells. Well, that's kind of what we're looking for here. Just saying. Rope and weight. You look this way, you got a bag of ropes. You look this way, you got 2 dumbbells. Barnacle bill. Yeah, that's it. Barnacles. That's what I meant to say. That had barnacles. That's what gets on all the bottoms of the boats, those barnacles. And they have to go there and scrape them off without chipping the paint. Some of that paint chips, it wears because it's under the ocean. But when we were going out there, I was like, how are they going to process this? Clearly, they're not going to have a place to get it out, get it out of the water. And as we're going over to Fort Pierce, I saw something I've never seen. It was like, I don't know, a boat lift. And it had a mega yacht. As you're going across to Fort Pierce to the United States Coast Guard, in one of the water ports, there was this lift. And the lift had a mega yacht on it. And this mega yacht is literally dangling in air, no water. And then it realized, okay, well, they have equipment to do a lot of work with boats. So they can pull boats slap out of the water. I thought they wouldn't have, be able to do that. I thought everything they have to do in the water. Or they have to bring it into like a port. I've seen where they put like it into a port. And then like this, it's like a rubberized inflatable system happens, and it just starts blowing up. And as air is starting to go into this thing, it's lifting the boat out. I've seen those, right? But they were never dangling. They were lifted out because the way the system works is it's like an inflatable tire, and as it's inflating the boat up, it's pumping the water in it around it out, so you have your boat up out of the water. But this one was actually a machine that came over the boat and had straps up under the boat and literally jacked the boat up out of the water. I had never seen that before. So it was very interesting. I learned a lot in the little trip that we made over to Fort Pierce yesterday. And I think that was I know you guys couldn't see it, but I saw it. And it was really an interesting sight because, this is a big sailboat. And I'm like, I don't think they're going to have an area where they can take it out of the water. And I don't know, 30 minutes later, I'm driving by and there's this mega yacht dangling in the air, being drug out of the water. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Barnacles cut my leg half off. That's on my uncle's pier. Oh my gosh, yep. Hundreds of dollars, boat, bring on another 1,000. There you go. It's like a BMW, bring money with you. Just saying. All right, guys, you guys have an amazing day. We will get back here tonight and have another a quick discussion about the cases that we have. But right now we have two cases that have identical information related to their investigation. And how sad that is, but we need to definitely bring attention to not only Sebastian Rogers' case, but also Nancy Guthrie's case. And I pray to God, because remember, Chris Nanos thinks she shouldn't be held accountable to the words that come out of his mouth. And he just told a reporter that he believes they're close to catching the guy. I feel like going, wah, wah, wah. I think we have one. I don't know if we can believe him. I think he's just, he doesn't, he only says what he thinks people wants to hear, and that is so dangerous. Are they close? With all the infighting, even Kash Patel coming up and telling, saying how Chris Nanos kept the FBI out for 4 days. That just recently came out. It seems like they're still butting heads behind the scenes. It seems like they're still not working well together. I know Todd Blanche is trying to smooth stuff over, but at the end of the day, this case is messed up. And so is the Sebastian Rogers case, because they contaminated the crap out of the crime scene. They never even turned his house into a blessed crime scene. I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know what's wrong with these cases. I don't know what's wrong with law enforcement. All I know is they try every time to make excuses. Oh my God, it's social media. Oh my God, it's social media. That's falling short. Social media's here. It's here to stay. Your excuses are over. Okay? At the end of the day, we want results. We're getting none. With all of these resources out there, we're getting no results. With all this money, all these resources, it is officially our law enforcement partners that are causing and creating. We don't have these issues going on all over the country. We do not. Okay? We do not have. Don't let them in your brain making you think that this kind of crap happens all over the country. It does not. But it's happening in these two cases. It is happening in these two cases. Now, these are not the only cases it's happening in, but the ones we're talking about, it's happening into these cases. So, anyways, guys, that's what we have for today. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. We might be diving in, at least in part, to maybe a cold case. We'll see where that goes. We've got the other case from Tennessee, which I have no doubt that it's not going to get solved. I have no faith in TBI. I have no faith in Tennessee law enforcement, and how sad that is. And I feel so bad for the millions of people that reside in Tennessee and have their heads in the sand like ostriches. Because you know what? You won't realize how bad your law enforcement is until you have to use it. And then you're going to be hitting your head against the wall. And then you're going to be researching Tennessee. And then you're going to come across this crazy lady named Bullhorn Betty telling you how horrible your state is. And you're going to be like, oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. Oh, this lady knows what she's talking about. Right? That's how it happens. So if you are in the state of Tennessee, enough with the excuses. I don't care how you like your sheriff. If it doesn't come with balls and backbones, fire him. And that goes with all the politicians in Tennessee. If you want change, you have to vote it in. If you keep voting the same old, guess what? You're going to get the same old. And maybe you are just one of those people that have your heads in the sand and you don't realize how bad it is in your state for other people. Well, now this is your wake-up call. You need to be asking. You need to be asking the people that are receiving the services, not the ones that are the onlookers. Just saying. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless you. We will be back later this evening, and we're going to be having another show tomorrow, 10 a.m. I've got to start getting back in the 6 a.m. show because I'm up ridiculously early, and I feel like I just waste like 6 full hours every morning, and we need to fill it up with something. So I think we're going to start rolling on multiple platforms all day long. That's what I want to start doing. I wanted to start doing it starting Monday, but we had a road trip. I want to start doing. The only time we will not be doing that is when we have road trips, right? Road trips take us a little bit longer, but one thing we do know without a doubt, we need to go back to Samsung products. I turned my, did I tell you I did a live? We did all day yesterday on the Samsung from Manatee County all the way over to Fort Pierce. Never dropped, never overheated, never shut down for overheating. I was coming back after I hung up. I hung up with you guys and I did a video on Facebook about how horrible my commissioners are and how much damage they've done out east. And within 4 minutes, and I forgot to use the Samsung, and I just rolled right through with the Facebook on my Apple. Within 4 minutes, my phone had dropped from overheating. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. We went 5.5 hours in Florida heat on the Samsung. And it never overheated or shut down on me one time. And within 4 minutes, the Apple did. That's horrible. I will never, I hate Apple products. I wish I never bought it. But the only thing I can do is just keep spreading my experience. If I can take another person and convert them over to Windows and Samsung, then I'm doing my job, because I'm saving you guys a boatload of money and you're getting a better quality product. I'm telling you, Samsung, my last Samsung, every time I dropped it, it broke. So get yourself a protective thing and a freaking case that if it falls, it doesn't hit anything, and I think you'll be fine. But I would invest in a $150 case for it, but it's half the cost of your Apple phone. It's half the cost. So for a phone with a terabyte, an Apple phone with a terabyte's about $3,000. Okay? A Samsung with a terabyte's about $1,500, $1,600. You see the difference? Big difference in cost. So with that big difference in cost, you should be having an elite case to go over your phone. And now you're still paying less and you're getting more. And not only that, all those apps you're paying for, you're going to find out there's free versions of all those apps on Samsung and on Windows and Android that give you a free version, an unlimited free version or a limited free version of that program. Most of the people that I know only live in those free programs because they don't need the elite stuff, and the stuff that they do need the pro version for, they purchase it. And it's still cheaper to purchase the pro versions on Android than it is Apple. Why? Because Apple wants 30%. So what do the people on Apple have to do? They have to raise the cost for you. It's ridiculous. So if I can just pull one person every single show away from an Apple product and put them on a Samsung product, by God, that's what I want to do. I hate Apple. I got sucked into Apple. It's like a drug dealer. It is. It's like a drug dealer because you can't go anywhere. You can't use any other products. No matter what you do, until you wean yourself off Apple, you are stuck using all Apple products or nothing works. Nothing works. I've tried to use cheap earplugs and microphones for my Apple phone. Won't work. I can use all the cheap products, even the earbuds. You can use the cheap earbuds that actually have good sound quality and stuff like that with your Android. You have to use AirPods to have the best quality with your Apple product. You can't use a cheap brand. It won't work. It won't even pair right. It's sick. It's sick, and I hope you guys understand what they are doing. They want you to pay. You never, once you get on Apple products, you pay through the nose the rest of the time you're on it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've had to deal with it with my own money and my own pocketbook, and now I'm ditching it. I'm going to have some costs when I move over, but I'm going to be significantly reducing my overall monthly fees. I think I'm going to be reducing my fees by almost $200 by changing with my business, by changing from Apple to Android. $200 a month. $200 a month. It's not quite half my car payment, but $200 a month. You know? Anyways, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So if you guys are on there and you're using the apps and you're paying those 99 cents, just think, all those 99 cents you wouldn't even have to pay if you were on Android. Just saying. Oh, you want to say hi? Come. Come. There she is. Say hi, guys. You stole my mommy more than 2 hours. I come to reclaim her. She's mine for the next hour. She needs to play with me. I'm bossy. I have self-serving reasons why I'm here. Oh, the baby. Oh, the baby. She needs my attention. All right, guys, rock it out. We'll see you soon. Until then, y'all be you.